Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, we're back for another Fall Obsession podcast episode. I am Sam with Fall Obsession, your podcast host, and thank you guys for tuning in, listening, watching, wherever you guys might be. Our Fall Obsession podcast is driven by our friends over at Ridge Rock Hunt Company, and normally at this point I say something about how we're going to give Ridge Rock a shout out at the end of the episode, but there's no need today because we have the folks themselves from Ridge Rock here with us for this week's episode. The man himself, Derek Eves. What's going on, D-Rock?
Man, just living the dream right now, man. This turkey season.
Oh yeah.
So it's been good. We've been busy. Lacey and I have been rocking and rolling with this Ridge Rock stuff and booking a lot of hunts and a lot of happy customers and happy clients. And if folks follow our social media page, either the Ridge Rock Hunt Company Facebook or Instagram, they'll see a lot of action. A lot of people sitting behind a turkey fan right now. So
absolutely. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, man, seeing folks have some good successes with our outfitters.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what you want. And I was going to say before we miss it, Mrs. Eves is with us as well. Welcome back to the podcast, Lacey.
Later day.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
I know. First podcast with you guys since y'all tied the knot, so congrats on the wedding and everything. That's awesome. Happy for y'all.
Thank you.
I'm a lucky man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm a lucky woman.
Well, man, I know we'll get into talking about Ridge Rock and some specifics with what you guys are doing, but let's start with talking a little bit of turkey because you've, first off, this episode, we've been kind of trying to line up schedules and make this happen for a little while now. It's been last summer, kind of post-turkey season last year, last time we had you guys on here with us. Ridge Rock wasn't even really up and going at that point, so like I said, we'll talk about that, but you've been slamming some birds here in recent weeks, so tell us a little bit about your spring turkey journey so far.
Yeah, it's been really good. As you know, I bow hunt for turkeys, sometimes in a blind, but most of the time from the ground, and it's just a big challenge. But, the failures are way more than the successes. But, man, when those successes do come about, it is sweet. So, but anyway, of course, in Mississippi, we've been kind of starting off hunting quite a bit. I have some buddies come into town, kind of like an opener, and we hunted a few days, had some close calls. My buddies left, and then once they left, I actually had a turkey in at 25 yards. I was literally pulling an arrow out of my quiver and look up, and the turkey's standing there at 25 yards.
Oh, so, dang.
Say hey to Axel.
we got a visitor. Awesome.
And like if you're sitting on the couch, I'm getting in your lap.
Yeah.
What's funny is he's actually not the first dog to make an appearance on our podcast video. So
they don't like him a whole lot more than they like us. Yeah, this is Axel. He is an American bulldog. And he looks like he could eat you up, but he's a big old baby.
He's looking at me like, what are you doing, dude?
What?
And he loves his daddy. He is a daddy's boy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But so anyway, the first turkey came in at 25 yards, and I had made one call. And you know how you were scratching around in the leaves and everything. And Axel, you're going to have to get down, buddy. All right, everybody, that was Axel. But just scratching around, just kind of making a little place in the pine straw there and making me a spot to sit and this, that, and the other, just kind of raking the leaves. I guess the turkey thought that there was a hen up there because actually when I do rake the leaves or trying to clean up a little spot for me to sit or whatever, I don't just just start raking a whole bunch of stuff back to back. I actually do try to sound like a turkey when I do it.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time that I've had a turkey that I have a gobbler in range from raking leaves on a hunt. So, but anyway, so we then I guess the next weekend. Well, Lacey and I went that weekend. We had some close encounters, but nothing in range to get a shot at. And then I went to Texas with my buddy Stephen Kofelt, and actually my brother-in-law Luke Jones. And man, we had an absolute blast. It was with one of my outfitters out there, and we had one big ranch, and that's kind of what they do. They'll give you one ranch to kind of hunt for a couple of days. It's got birds on it and all that kind of stuff, and you do your own thing. So that morning, the first morning, we just went in blind, of course, this first morning to hunt. And so Stephen and Luke were at another spot. And I just said, well, y'all go to this spot because it was kind of supposed to be the best spot. And I said, I'll go around to the other side of the ranch. And, man, I called up a turkey from 350 yards. And when I tell you it was the most beautiful scenery from just the fan of a turkey and just the whole sequence of the calls and seeing the reaction in the big field and all that kind of stuff, it was really, really cool.
Wow.
This turkey was gobbling, and then they came up. There aren't hills there. It's pretty flat, but they're just little, rolling little knolls, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And they popped up out of one of those little knolls about 350 yards away. And when he did, the turkey was here, and the sunrise was right here, and I was over here, and those Rios already have the nice, cream-colored tips and a lot of cream in their fan and everything. As you're from Texas, so you already know that. But that fan, man, it was just yellow,
glowing.
It was just glowing. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh,
and
man.
I mean, the entire time I would call, and I would get real loud, and the hens poke their heads up, and they would run 50 yards, and they'd stop, and I'd hit them again, and they'd come. I'd hit them again, and they'd come. So the next thing I know, they're at 25 yards, and the hen's about to come in, but they decided to go on down the fence line, and the gobbler's sitting there looking at them, looking at the decoy. He'd look at them, he'd look at the decoy. And those hens started walking off. He was looking at the hens, and I just kind of hit him with a little, just real soft, and he looked at that decoy, and he popped up in the strut, and here he come. That joker came in to 13 yards. I was kind of behind a little mesquite tree, and of course, it was several different trees and little branches and stuff. So I had a little window that I was going to be able to shoot through, because hiding is huge when you're bow hunting from the ground or any kind of turkey hunt. And anyway, I didn't actually get that bird, but man, it was one of my most favorite hunts of all time, and I didn't even kill an animal. So it was just that sunrise behind that fan was just incredible.
Picture perfect. You see all the pictures on social media and whatnot with just showcasing just that, but man, you just described it and you witnessed it, and that's freaking awesome.
Oh, it was. And I needed that turkey to take about 4 more steps to get to the decoy, and then I could have gotten drawn back and gotten a shot. But anyway, he got to about 4 steps from that decoy, and he just kind of got a little squirrely. Yeah. I guess his hens were leaving the whole time, and I'm sure they were doing some little soft chatter stuff that I probably couldn't even hear at the time. I was so locked in on that gobbler, Yeah. And he just kind of stopped, and he just kind of walked off. And so anyway, that was a cool encounter. That afternoon, I missed a bird at 33 yards. He come through, and it's like those Rios in the Texas. It's like whenever they're walking, like they don't ever stop.
Nope.
I think about the only time they ever stop is when they're perched up on a limb for the night. I mean, like our Mississippi birds, they'll actually stop. Because I guess it's a lot of timber, but those Rios, boy, they just keep moving.
Yeah.
So anyway, he kept moving, and I did a little soft yelp to get him to stop, and he stopped just for a minute, and he had his back to me, and there was another bird over here that Lacey's brother was trying to lock in, trying to shoot, and I leaned up out of the blind. I was actually going to blind then, so I leaned up out of the blind, and I torqued my bow a little bit, cut a couple feathers off of his left side, but that was a tough shot. And so the next time I put up a decoy, and I was like, I'm going to see if this hen decoy will at least make the turkey stop. And sure enough, it did. And I stroked one. I'm telling you, man, there was a softball-sized hole in the entrance wound of that turkey.
Oh, man.
And blood everywhere, and that turkey still went 330 yards.
330.
330 yards. I had to call, or my the rancher called one of his buddies, was actually his cousin, a guy by the name of Roy Hines. He's a big-time blood trailing dog guy in Texas. And anybody listening here probably knows the name Roy Hines. But anyway, so Roy brought his dog Rufus and found that turkey at 330 yards away.
Wow.
And it didn't have a feather. It had 2 feathers on its fan once we got to it after Rufus got a hold of him. But it wasn't pretty for a picture. But I was thankful. And anytime I shoot an animal, I want to exhaust all efforts to be able to find it.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, I was tickled to death. He had some nice spurs on him. It was about an 1.8 inches, something like that. So it was a nice bird. And actually, whenever the bird popped out, he strutted, or when he popped out, and he looked like he didn't have a beard. And then I was like, man, that's a dang Jake. I was like, that's a big Jake. And he strutted. It was a full fan. Well, actually, the bird had beard rot, and his beard was like literally 1.5 inches long.
Oh, no kidding.
So, yeah, I'm sure it was 13 inches before,
Well, yeah, of course it was.
So that kind of started off the season. And then Lacey's brother killed one, and he missed one. And then my buddy Steven, he killed one. But, if I'd have been hunting with a shotgun, I'd have had a chance to shoot 3 of them. So
wow,
you can't beat when you have opportunities and the experiences like that. It's just, hey, it's just as good as a kill to me.
Hey man, yeah, the experiences is invaluable, and then that's always comparing. Could I have gotten one if I had a shotgun, or if I had if you're deer hunting, if I had a rifle? Man, that's a curse of bow hunting right there. That's what that is.
That's right. That's right. So, and then we're headed back from Texas, and Lacey, I told her, I was like, hey, we have a spot here in Mississippi. It's up on top of a little hill. The turkeys like to get up there and strut in the mornings and in the afternoons. And anyway, we hadn't been able to hunt the little spot there for a little while. And so I told Lacey, I said, you need to take the pot call and scratch on it a little bit, make a little turkey noise. We've been practicing on that a little bit. So just make a little turkey noise and go sit up on top of that hill and wait and see what happens. So with that being said, Lacey went on her first solo hunt this year for turkey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I did. So went to church Sunday morning, and anyway, it was a beautiful afternoon, and we had been inside most of the weekend, and I got out in the woods pretty early, probably around, I don't know, 3:30. I wanted to get in and be able to get settled, and anyway, like you said, just kind of made some soft calls and sat down to watch to see what was going to happen, and I could hear chitter chatter down in the bottom, so I knew they were around, and I was tucked in real tight behind a little cedar, and sure enough, I just kept on kind of hearing something, and I thought it was getting closer, and hearing, and thought it was getting closer, and then, I don't know if y'all do this, but I know for me, I'll sit there and I'll think, man, you hear them and you think, oh, they're just right there, and then it's 30 minutes and there's nothing, and it's like they're never gonna come in. It's not gonna happen. All that was going through my mind. Like, I've come out, I could be at home, I could be washing those clothes I need to wash.
I'm never thinking of that.
No.
I was at that point in time. I really was, because I had been out there not a long time, but probably about an hour and a half. And then I felt bad because I was like, Lord, you have given us this beautiful day, and I'm able to sit out here and enjoy this beautiful weather and the sunshine. And it had been super cold on Saturday, warmed up to in the mid-70s that Sunday. So it was just gorgeous weather. Mm-hmm. And just, my mind was kind of drifting off about how blessed we were and thankful for the little things. And then all of a sudden, just coming up out of the bottom. Literally, I'm sitting on this little knoll, and coming up out of the bottom, I see this head. And I was like, oh.
It's on.
And I knew we had hunted there a few weeks before, and I knew there were a couple of jakes around, and all I could see was like from here up. So, I mean, I patiently just waited for him to step. Of course, he was looking. You know, he was looking. I didn't have any decoys with me. Derek had all the decoys with him in Texas. And he was looking for whatever he heard. And, I mean, I was locked in, though. Now, I'm one, when I get in the woods, I get positioned in my chair real comfortable. I'll have my gun up. So, I'm not having to do a whole lot of movement if something comes out on me. So I was ready. I mean, I literally just had to kind of move my head down just a tad. And you know, he was looking and he took a step. And then when he took one more step up, I could see his beard. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're in trouble. And literally, like, as soon as he stepped up and kind of stuck his head up and I saw that beard sticking out, I already had I have a red dot on my shotgun. And I had my dot right there at his waddle, and I let her rip. Like, there wasn't no hesitation. But then, so I couldn't see because he was still kind of over the bottom. The dirt flew, you know, that shows you. I was kind of sitting down on the other side. He come up out of the other side. So my TSS tore the ground up too, because that's how close just as much as his head was.
Oh, man.
But anyway, a bird flew after I shot, and I was like, oh, surely I didn't miss him. And he flew away. So I sat there for a second, and I really had talked myself into that I had missed this bird. And I thought, there's no way I missed that bird. There's no way. So I jumped up and I run across there and go down over the knoll, and sure enough, he's just laying there. Like, he never flopped, he never winced, he never did anything. He was just
Dirt Nat dropped him.
Yes, I'm talking about dead. No flop. Don't worry about that.
Cold.
But anyway, the best. Like, I literally was jumping up and down and just like in my quiet voice. And I got him up and kind of got him up on top of the hill because another gobbler that was what flew off, his buddy. And I thought, okay, I need to get on up out of this place because we don't want to scare him away. But then I couldn't help it. I had to FaceTime Derek, and I FaceTime Derek, and then I wasn't quiet anymore. So that other gobbler probably didn't stop till he got in the next county, but
Hey,
I really didn't care.
it's all good.
We haven't seen him since.
He gone.
He gone. Yeah.
But yeah, it was super cool, and it felt good, and it felt good calling him, and you know, he answered the phone, and you know, I had the turkey in the phone. I was just like holding the beard, you know, and showing, and you know, got a lot of hoops and hollers from him and my brother and Steven, and just good times. It felt good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I called my dad on the way out, and I was like, I'm headed home, and you gonna help me with this turkey, you know. He's like, yeah, bring it on, you know, just super stoked for me. So really cool. My kids were super stoked. That's another cool thing about having, you know, my daughter's about to be 15, my son's 18, and I think they were more proud of me killing one than if they'd have been out there for themselves. It's like, my mom's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Fun times.
Miss Lacey's bad to the bone.
Super fun. It felt good. I love hunting with Derek. There's nothing like being out there with him in the woods, you know, but it did feel good to know that I could go out there, you know, and do it myself. And
yeah,
it was super cool.
That's awesome.
Hey, I knew when that FaceTime come over from Lacey, I was like, uh-oh, Lacey done killed him. She done got him. And she was telling me the story. She kind of talked a little bit about it on here, but when she was talking about it, she goes, his head popped up, and I couldn't tell, and then I saw his waddle, and then I saw his beard, and then I let him have it.
Oh yeah, there wasn't no. I mean, like as soon as he popped up, I mean, I had it to where as soon as I knew that there wasn't, I didn't give him a chance.
That's awesome.
They said, did he strut? I said, Lord, no, I didn't give him an opportunity to strut.
Ain't gonna waste no time with that. No.
No. He gave me all I needed.
That's perfect.
Yep. Heck yeah.
Well, congrats. That's awesome story and awesome accomplishment for sure. And yeah, we're excited for you. It's a good way to start the season.
That's
Super
right.
stoked.
That's right. Well, and then I got back from Texas, and I started hunting a bird that I'd been hearing at the camp. And man, I mean, he was just, you could tell when he gobbled, he was just rocking the whole woods. And I called him up the first time I hunted him up to about 60 yards, and literally I had to sit. He sat there and strutted for an hour and a half, and he was back behind me. And of course, I was already turned, kind of looking back, and my neck was killing me. But I was determined. I was like, he's gonna come up here, but he never did, and ended up kind of moseying on back another way. And
Okay, time out a minute. I do have to say that whole week, so he had a week in between getting home from Texas and leaving to go to Nebraska.
Yep.
And that Monday night, he said, I really just need to get my Eastern this week. I really need to get my Eastern this week. And I was like, yeah, you really do. You really do. And anyway, so he went hunting one day, and then the next day, he said, you coming home, you gonna go with me? And I was like, no, I don't think I am. I think I'm gonna let you just go on. You're bow hunting. I'll slow you up. It's harder for two to be in there with your bow and blah, blah, blah. So he was a sweetheart, and he was gonna take me with him all week.
And she would have killed him that afternoon because I had him at 45 yards.
Oh, damn.
I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. That he needed to go and be able to kill his Eastern. So.
Yep. So I tried to get her to go. She could have shot that bird. But anyway, at the time I had trying to get a grand slam with my bow on my mind, but that is not gonna. I don't think that's gonna come to fruition this year now because of I did not kill one in Nebraska. But anyway, back to Mississippi. I knew where these birds were headed every day, and in bow hunting turkeys, a lot of times, my big thing on turkey hunting is not spooking the bird. I will stay in one position for an hour and a half if I have to, and like literally won't even be able to stand up because my legs are completely asleep or whatever. It's just. My brother taught me that whenever we started turkey hunting, or he's teaching me how to turkey hunt 25 years ago, whatever. So anyway, I will kill myself to not spook a bird. And so I knew where they were going, and they were not spooked. And so I had my decoy, my Dave Smith decoy, the posturing Jake on top of the hen, and I had this little. I had a little cluck box that I use sometimes. It's like a little old school little box deal, and you cluck and just real soft stuff. It sounds really good. And anyway, I was kind of doing that, and then I heard him spitting, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" I said, "That sounded like a turkey spitting." And I'd gotten hid real well, and so anyway, it just kept getting closer and closer, and I heard him drumming. And the next thing I see him pop out on the little lane on probably about 20 yards from the field. And it was a little bitty field that I was hunting in. And anyway, so he popped up there, and then I could hear something else coming, and his hens came out. And one of his hens came out to like 15 yards, and I was sitting there thinking, don't put. And he didn't, and he would strut and take two steps. Finally, he got up to the corner of that field, and he saw that decoy, and he hit a little quarter strut, and he started walking. And with every step he got faster. And by the time he got up to that decoy, he jumped up, went, bah, 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 bah. And then when he did that, I drew back, and the turkey was only at 15 yards. But I drew back, and he hit it again, and then he was kind of coming in soft from the left to the right, and I put it in front of that top wing and let it rip. And he didn't go nowhere.
Awesome.
And he was a good one. For Mississippi, he was real good. He weighed 19 pounds. Which isn't big for most states, but for Mississippi, that's a pretty good sized bird. And had an 1.25 inch hooks. I mean, they had some good curvature to them.
Nice.
And, so it was really, really a good bird. And I think it was about 9 3/4 inch beard or something, maybe. I can't even remember right now, but So anyway, that was a great bird. And so that was, so I got my Eastern and got some good pictures and all that good stuff. That was a lot of fun. And so then it was time to leave to go to Kansas or Nebraska. And man, I called up with the first morning. There was probably 150 turkeys in trees just right there all together in northwest Nebraska on a Merriam hunt. And I had a guy that some guys that I had booked to go on that hunt also. And so anyway, one of them was hunting with me, and we called we had 150 turkeys from 15 to 40 yards from us. The hen chatter was so loud just that you could, when the turkeys gobbled, you could barely hear it.
No kidding.
I mean, it was, I've never had that many turkeys that close ever in my entire life. And I mean, literally, like I just could not believe the turkeys. You could see their heads go out, and you could barely hear a little bit of course, you know, Merriams and Rios, they don't gobble as loud as an Eastern does, but still, when you have 8 strutters gobbling at the same time, and you could still barely hear it. I mean, it was just, it was insane.
Wow.
I mean, it was insane.
Think about how you feel when you got one turkey's eyes on you.
Oh yeah.
150 turkeys' eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have been like.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting there just waiting for a shot, and the guy with me was kind of up to the left. A guy named Rob, super nice guy. Just super nice guy. A lot of fun. He'd never bow hunted turkeys before, especially not from the ground. And you know, and if we did everything we could to get a shot at a turkey, but they just a little bit of thing here and there they would see, or you know, get just something wasn't going right. And but anyway, I called up a bunch of birds, but it just seemed like they kept spotting something and kind of spooking a little bit. But I told the guy after I called up that group of 150 turkeys, I was like, man, if I don't kill a bird, this trip's already worth it.
Yeah, another one of those deals for sure. Holy cow.
It was just a sight to see. So then I bounced down to Kansas. Well, not to mention that it was gusts up to 60 miles per hour in Nebraska.
Ooh.
It was bad. Like I literally had on my Sitka Fanatic bibs, jacket, and everything. Like literally, the only thing you could see were my eyes. It was cold.
It's like 25 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Monday and Tuesday, he had upwards of like 25, 30 mile an hour wind. And then Wednesday, it was 60 mile an hour wind.
Yep.
Holy cow.
So, but anyway.
I asked him if he had the ballistics done on that arrow. Like exactly how much you needed to, like how much were you going to lead the turkey to the left?
With that kind of wind?
With it, you know, like he's right here, you aim 6 feet to the left, you might hit him.
Maybe.
Man, that's dedication. I know a lot of bow hunters that would hang it up at that. Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, we should have killed some turkeys, you know, and I tell people this all the time, and the guy he wanted to hunt with me, and we had a great time, you know, but bow hunting a turkey without a blind is a solo gig every day. I mean, to be successful now, I'm not saying that it can't be done with more than one hunter, but it just gives the turkeys more something to spot that's out of place, or something that just looks different, or somebody makes a move when they don't need to make a move, and just things like that. So, but I have zero complaints about that hunt because my outfitter, boy, he had the birds. He really had the birds.
That's awesome.
So then I bounced down to Kansas, to the same place that we had the podcast about some of the whitetail stuff. And actually, I guess this guy right here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I popped back down there to Kansas to hunt with my guy Mark Novak, and first morning had 6 longbeards strutting. Probably, I guess it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock or so. And there again, the wind that was in Nebraska that done made it down to Kansas by then.
Just following you.
It was. But man, I had gotten tucked into a cedar tree kind of on the backside of it. I'd actually gotten up to make a move because I hadn't seen them in 2 hours. And I put all my stuff on the other side of the fence, kind of backed off into the woods. and about the time I look and I see something coming black, and I was like, oh crap. So I got down, I crawled as far as I thought I could get, and I got next to this cedar tree, knocked me an arrow up, and I'm sitting there ready. Hens kind of come over in front of me, and the hens are walking from left to right. The wind is blowing from right to left, and I'm behind this cedar tree. And about that time comes one of those gusts, and it blows every one of those cedar limbs away from me and exposes me for about 3 seconds. So what do you think all those turkeys do?
Oh, they're looking right at you. Peg.
They look up. Well, anyway, they walk off. I hear one. I'm fixing to get up to move. I move my leg, and it makes a rattling noise in the leaves. And when it did that, one of the hens yelped about 40, 45 yards, sounded like to me. And so I called to her, and I called the turkeys back up. And this time, Sam, what I did is I had my bow, and I held on to 2 of those limbs and held it in front of me. And so that way, when the wind blew, it wouldn't blow my cover off. And I did that probably for about 30, 45 minutes.
Wow.
And finally, the turkeys kind of come through. And when one of them strutted, and it covered up his face and the other gobbler's face. So I drew back, and I was sitting on my butt. And, when you're sitting that low to the ground, the distances seem to just look a little bit further.
Yep.
So I gauged, I didn't have my rangefinder handy, so I gauged him at probably about 30 yards, shot him for 30 yards, and I cut 2 feathers off the top of his back. And I was like, oh my God. But when I did, it was so windy, and that arrow come through, and it just nicked some feathers. So he jumps, and all the turkey and all the gobblers gobble. And they just kind of sit there, and so they're just kind of sitting there looking around like, what was that, And anyway, they kind of meander off to the right, and the other 2 gobblers that were not exposed yet started coming out of there. And when they were about to walk out behind the cedars, I knew that they were going to be in range, and I was like, well, they're not 30, so we're going to shoot for 25. and I drew back before they walked out of those cedars, and they got up there, and he strutted, and I absolutely smoked him. He didn't go anywhere either. So
money.
So yeah, so that I'm shooting that Elite Envision, and I tell you what, man, that is one sweet shooting bow.
Awesome.
It really is. So that's the turkey season thus far. I know there's a whole lot of stories jumbled up in there together.
Man, y'all, like I said, for being this early in the year, I feel like y'all are already moving and killing it. I mean, what's next? Where are you going after now?
Well, Lacey and I are going to Illinois the 22nd through the 24th. We put in for the draw for it and got drawn. So I have an outfitter up in Pike County, Illinois, and we're going to go up there and do a little turkey hunt with them. See how that goes.
Heck yeah.
So we have Easter this weekend, so we'll be sticking around the house, spending time with family and everything, and actually have our Easter cantata on Sunday morning for church that we've been practicing. So we're going to do a little singing Sunday morning, and when the next weekend we'll be rolling out to I think the little town's called Nebo, Illinois.
All right. Awesome.
Nebo, Illinois. And then after that, I don't know. My daughter's getting married April the 30th, so that would be the next weekend. And then, of course, you have the whole month of May, but, I try not to overdo my days off with my real job.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, that at the rate you're going, Ridge Rock, it sounds like could be heading that way for you. So, or at least I'd hope it would be. So.
Well, yeah, maybe so. I tell you what, though, my Farrell people and Johnny Fair is one of my best friends, and they take really good care of me and allow me to do some cool stuff. And I take care of business, just like I take care of business with Ridge Rock. Johnny Fair knows that if he needs something done, that he can count on me to get it done and not have to worry about it. So
there you go.
But anyway, you never know what the future may hold. We're having fun and we're booking a ton of hunts with some really good clients and some really good outfitters as well. I talked to my guys out in Texas. I probably sent close to 30 or 35, 40 people out to Texas. I hadn't counted, but talked to one of the ranchers out there today. He said, man, Derek, he said, every person you sent out here to hunt with us was just good people. And I said, well, man, that's what I try to do. I said, if people call me and if they sound like they're going to be a problem, then I'm probably not going to book them on a hunt, just straight up, because I don't have time for problems. I don't have time for headaches. Same thing for outfitters. I don't have time for, people to be causing problems, a client to be calling me saying, hey, what's going on with this guy? He's not here, or it's not this or that. So I just, we don't have time for that. Lacey's a nursing home administrator, and she's got a full-time job. So, we just try to do good business and do it with good folks, have good communication throughout the entire process from A to Z. One of the things that Lacey and I did when we first started this deal is, we were probably at each other's throats for about 2 weeks trying to iron out exactly how we want it, because she's pretty smart. She's real smart. And I have a lot of experience. And so I was like, well, in my brain, I wanted some of these things. In her brain, she wanted some of those things. And, we just kind of meshed those things together and really made a seamless process for not only to help us out, to be efficient with our time, but also to be a good experience as far as just the booking process for our clients, and also with our outfitters, to make sure they know who we're coming, when they're coming, when they're going to get paid, and so on and so forth. So we put a lot of work, a lot of experience over the years that we've had with our various ventures of personal businesses and stuff, and put it all together. And man, it is just it's been very well received, and we're thankful for that. So
awesome. Yeah,
we don't mind questions, but our goal is to give an experience where the questions are already answered, and the client nor the outfitter has to waste their time asking that. And if we take a few extra steps on the front end to really make sure that communication process is seamless, then it's good for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something to be said, especially in this industry, I feel like, just about, good people being honest, doing good things, and the blue collar, if for lack of a better term, side of, or just that work ethic and that mentality behind people. We see it over here on our side of things, because we're in the same boat. We all work other jobs that ultimately pay the bills in the end, but we're blue collar outdoorsmen is what we call ourselves, but at the same time, we're trying to bring a level of integrity to our own brand and everything. And I, as you guys just alluded to, it's the exact same thing that happening over there, and it's awesome to see. And yeah, I have no doubt that y'all's clients and everything are getting set up with the best people out there, and vice versa. So.
Yeah. Well, we do the best we can, and that's what I've had a lot of people say. I got a guy texting me right now about going to Kansas on a Rio hunt there. But I tell people all the time, they say, hey man, well, we had the best trip we've ever been on, and man, the kids had fun, or we did this. It was just a great experience stuff. And like, man, you're the man. I'm like, man, I just do the best I can.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all that any of us can do is to, and that's one thing I'd say as far as a viewer, if you were thinking about booking a hunt, you're going to get the best out of myself and Lacey that we can possibly give. And based on the conversation that we have with our clients, we can give good recommendations as far as what we think would probably fit what they're looking for. And I think that experience and the knowledge of dealing with people over the years gives us a good base as far as knowing what would probably be the best place for the experience that they're trying to get.
Yeah.
And also setting them up with outfitters that probably fit their kind of personality some as well. All of those things come into play whenever we're trying to place somebody into a specific hunt. So, if somebody says, hey, I want to go on a Texas hunt, we're not just going to send them just to one place over and over.
Right.
We have different places with different styles, different things. And when you get to the point where you can do those things, it just sets everybody in the whole process up for success.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, we want everybody to have a great experience. For sure. Absolutely.
So tell me real quick, because you talked about coming into this thing with different experiences and everything, and I know in the past Derek, you had some experience with booking hunts and working with outfitters and stuff like that. What gave you guys the idea or the desire to start Ridge Rock, to start your own brand?
Well, I took a trip out to, well, first of all, I had a lot of friends that were saying, man, you need to do this on your own. You need to do this on your own. I mean, I was hearing it all the time. And I was like, no, man, I just, I got so much going on with my real job and everything. And it just, people just kept on. And so I guess that kind of started the whole seed deal, as far as possibility. But then I went out to New Mexico for a mule deer hunt. And while I was on that mule deer hunt, I had, number one, I had 16 hours of drive time on my own.
Yeah.
And Lacey and I had been discussing it, right prior to that trip. And I get out there, and I had two muleys coming in on the ranch, and I was kind of like a DIY stuff with one of my outfitters. And so the first day, so I get there the second day after I kind of got some things figured out a little bit. And on the second day, sitting there waiting for the sun to come up and to make a move, the deer were actually coming off of the neighboring ranch. Well, that morning I see some headlights coming, and guess what? It was the next door rancher starting to move cattle out. So the road that he was driving on and moving cattle in and out all day was the same road that those deer were crossing to come over to where I needed them to come. So that kind of squashed all that. And so basically I had, a couple thousand acres roundabout that I just slipped around on for 3.5 days. And, you can, as a hunter, and especially in my business, I feel like sometimes like I need to shoot something, for the business. And it does help for people to see me shoot stuff, obviously. But sometimes I was feeling a little pressure as far as I need to shoot something. And then I come across this old cattle skull on the side of the top of the mesa, overlooking a rock cliff. And I actually put a YouTube video up of I can't remember the name of it. Was something about when Ridge Rock was born or something like that. But anyway, I was on the side of this cliff or side of this rock, this Ridge Rock or Rock Ridge or whatever. And I was just sitting there, and I had that cattle skull, and I saw this rock, and I was like, you know what? Here I am getting down in the dumps because the rancher pulled through the lane, and I'm not seeing any deer on this side, and not really having any opportunities or anything. But I saw that skull, and I was like, you know what? It was just a good reminder that life is short, and the good Lord blessed me enough to allow me to be on the side of that cliff and that mesa and that rock and all that stuff, and to be able to experience all that beautiful country out there. And at that point, it was just, and then I was sitting there, and I was trying to think of the name, think of a name, and then I saw that ridge rock is really exactly what it was, because it was a huge rock right on the side of the ridge. And that was just kind of the point where I was like, you know what? Life is short. It's time to take a little risk, take a chance, and do what I know that we can do, And sometimes you just, the good Lord just puts those little things in front of you to say, hey, now's the time, And so that was a pretty cool deal. And actually, it was really just that whole trip was just kind of like a soul cleansing experience. It was quiet. It was just the base of the canyons, the rock, the solitude, just all of those things, and the ups and downs, the tiredness of walking out of the canyon, and the being out there, and just everything. And then so it was just a whole cleansing experience for me, and it was like okay, we're doing it.
Awesome.
We're doing it. And actually, I think that was about the time that I was like, you know what? I love Lacey. We've been dating for 5 years. I think we're gonna get married now.
Man, you came to a lot of life-changing decisions on that trip.
that trip just did it, man. It was.
I'm gonna tell you, Sam, when he came back, I could tell he was different. Derek's always, he's always upbeat. You just from doing podcasts and things.
Oh yeah, we know.
It was almost like when he came back, this just peace. I remember saying he had not been back a day or two, and I was like, I mean, did you know how to walk about with the Lord or what? You know, I mean, because we're, you know, we are, that is one thing. We are very close to the Lord, and we never, you know, shy away from sharing our testimonies, because we both definitely have. It's just amazing, and we know that He brought us together. But yeah, He came back, and you know, of course, hindsight's 20/20 now. You know, I thought it was just all about the business, but I mean, it was life.
Yeah.
It was life, and yeah, the Lord worked on him on that Ridge Rock.
Worked on him on Ridge Rock. Told him about it's time to make a move with you, and then I guess he's tagging you along with Ridge Rock too. So he needed somebody to help him with that. So
we worked super good together, and he's not real easy to work with, but
throwing you under the bus, man. Golly.
So
rough.
We're both. I like my lane. He likes his lane, and we understand that about each other. And you know, every once in a while, we'll try to veer in each other's lane, and we just kind of cut our eyes, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go back now.
You got that contract out yet? You're looking like that. Yeah, I have strengths, and Lacey has her strengths, and you know, I think she's really organized, you know, and of course with me doing all the outfitter stuff and talking to people on the phone all the time, and actually she had to step in for me this past week while I was going to Nebraska because I didn't have any sales service. So she had to step in and talk to some outfitters and some hunters and all that stuff, and
it was super fun too.
Yeah,
I enjoy talking. You know, the things that are extremely rewarding to me is definitely the hunts that are centered around the children. And I did get to talk to a couple of hunters last week that were, you know, taking their kids out for first experiences and never killed a bird. And, you know, that's just super cool just to hear those stories. And then one guy I talked to, he was a traditional archer and kind of was telling me some stories about that. And so it's just kind of cool just to you see the names. Like for me, I see the names on the contracts. I don't do a lot of one-on-one with the hunters because Derek does that. But,
right.
You know, to have stories with the names and know about their children. And it's extremely rewarding.
Yeah, they're not names, they're people, you know. And you can
Well,
personalize
you know,
that. Yeah.
They almost, you feel like they're friends to an extent, a family, because of course a lot of customers, clients, they're repeats. You know, I know there's one guy that Derek's booked. I mean, he's had hunts all over the place for all kinds of different species, and you know, that's kind of cool because you just form a bond and a friendship, and you know, Derek's had the opportunity to even, you know, go hunt with several guys that he's booked and have made extremely good friendships. And,
And I mean that's what's so cool about this industry is just, you know, you build and work with those relationships, and yeah, I mean it just it takes off, and they're there to last. I even think about, you know, like us and you guys, you know. I mean, I think the first time I ever saw the name Derek Eves was when you sent me that pronghorn picture for that pronghorn country thing we did a couple years ago, and here we are, man. I mean, just kept rolling from there. So it's awesome for stuff like that to just, like I said, to progress, and just relationships and friendships to form. And I know we had the last couple podcast episodes we had were recapping with some of our crew on a snow goose hunt that they did in Missouri. And we put a group of Fall Obsession crew members together that had never hunted before. Like, other than virtual meetings like this, they never met each other in person, and they went out there for a weekend, and they said that they showed up and it was just like, it's just hunting camp, you know. I mean, you just fall into place, and it's that way across the board. And you know, it's awesome to see you guys, you know, putting people together like that, and then building your own relationships and stuff, repeat customers and stuff like that, man. Is, you know, shows that y'all are doing good things. So
I tell you, man, one of the things that I enjoy are the ones, I mean, I enjoy all of them, but the ones that, you know, have a list of, you know, 3 or 4 different things. Like, I talked to a guy, sent me an email through an inquiry through my website, And I talked to him on the phone last night, and after talking to him, I was like, I want to go hunting with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was laid back as he could be. And, and he's like, well, I want to go to Kansas, which if anybody is listening and you want to go hunt a whitetail in Kansas, I have 2 legit places to go. So, and I actually have some spots for this year, but if you don't want to go in 2022, holler at me and I will get you we'll work on getting you some preference points this year so you can go hunt next year. So, but anyway, so the whole point of talking to the guy I was talking to was, and what triggered my brain to say all that was, he was trying to get a plan together, like a 5-year plan. He said, well, here's what I want to do. He goes, what do you suggest? And then I was like, well, I said, I think you should probably go to Kansas this year if you can get drawn. I said, and then let's buy you some preference points for Iowa, and let's buy you some bonus points for Montana, and let's buy you some preference points for Montana. And I said, then, you can go Kansas this year. You can go Montana next year. You can go to Iowa the next year, because by then he would have enough points.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, and then after that, I said, I got this place in Canada. And he said, oh man, I've always wanted to go to Canada. And I said, so, we could put together a stream of, 4 or 5 year plan as far as what you're trying to achieve as a hunter.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really cool and really exciting, because then I get to use my knowledge and my experience as far as what I've been doing for the last 3 years and really helping people bring down some barriers as far as a tag application.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned tag application to folks and they're like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the tag application. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it for you. And if you'll let me help you, then I can guide you through the process. We can get a plan together and really set people up for some successful hunts and some really good experiences.
Yeah, experiences that they're never going to forget, and you're lining them up for years to come potentially. So that's awesome.
Well, and the cool part of that, Sam, is a lot of them don't even think that it's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you can show them that it's possible, and they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. And that gets me excited.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that, because I know we got one guy, and his main on staff, his main expertise is like the Colorado, draw applications and over the counter stuff. Like he lives and breathes this stuff, and he knows it very, very well. And he has shed a lot of light even to our own guys on just like, hey, an elk hunt is totally doable. Just as an example, people have this hurdle in their mind that, oh, Colorado elk, I'm never gonna be able to do that. It's a lot more doable, like a lot of other hunts, as you know good and well. A lot more doable than people realize. So, yeah. If any viewers or listeners, if you guys want to know how doable your dream hunt is, you need to give this guy a call. So.
That's right. Yeah. Well, be glad to help. Be glad to help. Awesome. We love to see people succeed. We love to see our friends succeed. We love to see our clients succeed. We love to see our outfitters succeed. I just like for people to win. I mean, I just really do.
Absolutely. So real quick, before we wrap it up, I'll let you guys get back to your evening. As far as your outfitters, just briefly, for our viewers and our listeners' sake, tell us a little bit about what you're comfortable saying as far as the process you go through to vet an outfitter, basically. Why are these outfitters your outfitters?
All right. So every one of the outfitters that we book hunts for, but I think we have about 46 now that I've gone to Nebraska, are outfitters that either I have been to personally or one of my really good friends that I trust has been to and says, hey, you need to book hunts for this guy. And I have a handful of guys that I kind of lean on for some things like that. And even whenever they tell me that, hey, I have this guy in Canada, and one of my buddies, Lee Duet, has gotten, I think he's the doll sheep away from a North American big game slam, and he's a doll sheep away with a bow.
Oh, wow.
The guy's an absolute.
Wow.
Yeah. So if he says it's legit, it's legit.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, for instance, so he hooked me up with this whitetail guy in Canada that he had hunted with before and had kept up with over the last 2 or 3 years. And so anyway, so I called the guy, talked to him for a little while, and then so we start exchanging pictures, and then I talked to some of his past clients and all those kind of things. And we spent, I don't know how many hours probably on the phone just chatting about deer, chatting about this or whatever. And that's one thing that, not only vetting an outfitter, but keeping them vetted, So I talk to my outfitters, all of them throughout the year, as much as humanly possible, just to kind of, stay in touch. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? And all those kind of things as well. But anyway, so I sent so they go through all that process. I look at their reviews on social media. I look at their reviews on Google if they have them. So I just really go through any and everything I can possibly think of to try to pick up any red flags or anything that says, hey, you definitely need to book for this deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, I sent a guy up there to hunt with this guy in Canada last year. And I said, listen, I have told you multiple times how good I felt like Dane was. And I said, I've talked to him a whole bunch. He's sending me all these pictures and telling me all the work that he was doing, and I pay attention to those things.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, well, Barrett, I said, it was a guy from Louisiana. I booked to go up there and hunt with him. I said, how good is Dane? I said, how good is he? As good as I said that he was going to be? He said, man, that dude was 200% better than any outfitter I've ever hunted with in my life.
Awesome.
And so anyway, so that's the process. So if I don't have a person that I know has hunted somewhere then says, hey, these people are legit, here's the deal. And then I get them on the phone. If I don't have any of that and I haven't hunted there, it's like the place I went to turkey hunting in Nebraska this year. I didn't know anybody that had hunted there. I'd seen one of his posts actually about an early archery Merriam hunt, which I was wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to get the guy on the phone. I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to go up there and hunt with him and see what it's all about. Because he also has some archery antelope hunts. He has some really good whitetail hunts. He has some good mule deer hunts. A non-resident can't hunt elk in Nebraska.
Mm.
So Nebraska has some good elk up there in some spots. But anyway, so hung out with a guy, talked to him on the phone a lot, and actually had 4 guys go up there with me, and then got up there. Man, that was just a slammer full of birds, and just a cool experience. So that's kind of how we do it. I mean, I'm never going to send anybody on a hunt to hunt with somebody that I would not go myself.
Yeah.
100%. Because we all work way too hard for our money.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have a whole lot of money. Some people have, just enough to go on a hunt a year. Some people go on a bunch of different hunts a year.
Yeah. For some people, this is what they've been saving up for a very long time to go do. So.
Right. Yeah. And the last thing that we want is for somebody to go to a place and be like, man, I saved up for that for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was just awful. And we hear it a lot. A lot of people call me and say, man, I'm so glad I found you because I've been on this hunt and it was terrible. I've been on this hunt and it was terrible. I got a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a very well-known archery turkey guy and does really, really well. And I think he's going for the chasing 49 with a bow for a turkey, which would be super cool.
Wow.
But anyway, he's an absolute killer. But he texted me while he was on a hunt in Texas and says, dude, can you help me out? I'm in a jam. I have a place, and it is awful. So, I mean, it can happen to anybody at any time. And, unless you know somebody that has been there, then you're taking a risk. I mean, I was taking a risk to go to Nebraska, but in a sort of a way. I've talked to so many outfitters and know the ins and outs of everything that, I can talk to them for about an hour and I can tell you what they're about. Probably not even an hour, but, so.
Yeah.
He's a really good people reader.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. I worked for a pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly for 13 years, and they trained us. I know way more about people than I really want to know.
I tell him sometimes, like, quit analyzing me. Just quit analyzing me.
Yeah. I was a sales rep for a while, and I was a specialty rep for a while, and then I was actually an area sales trainer for 2 years. covering 6 states, working with about 135 sales reps and 12 managers, and going to corporate once a month and training. So anyway, I've had a whole lot of training. The good Lord gave me some abilities. Eli Lilly honed in on those abilities and sharpened a lot of my skills. And so anyway, all of that stuff comes into play when it's time to pick out a good outfitter. So
Yeah.
you're not dealing with a chump when you're dealing with D-Rock.
Get you squared away. Love it. Well, guys, it's been good to get on here and talk with y'all for a little bit, talk some turkey, talk some Ridge Rock, catch up a little bit, some good stuff. Before we wrap it up, though, tell our fine listeners and viewers where they can reach y'all, how they can find you.
Well, they can check us out on our website, ridgerockhuntcompany.com. It does have all of our contact information on there, cell numbers, emails. We also have some merchandise there that's really cool. If you want to look at that, hats, t-shirts, hoodies. Derek's cell phone is 662-803-2001. And he is your man if you want to get some information about the hunts. That needs to be your first stop. And he will, ask you a series of questions so that we can get you the most appropriate information for what you're looking for. And then once he gets you a contract on your dream hunt, then I'll come into play and work with you to get the payment in, the deposit in, and your outfitter notified, and keep the communication lines squared away. So
awesome. And social media as well, like I think you mentioned earlier, Derek, that you got that you're yeah, y'all are. I keep interrupting you. Sorry.
Facebook is Ridge Rock Hunt Company, and also on Instagram, and it's Ridge
Rock Hunt Co.
Yep, Ridge Rock Hunt Co. So, and then Twitter. You do Ridge Rock on Twitter,
yep.
And then also on YouTube. Yep.
And all of those links are on the website, which again is that www.ridgerockhuntcompany.com. So if you need to look for my contact information, if you need to look for any of our social media sites, you can go to our website and it's all right there. So really easy.
Pretty cool testimonials on the website too, for anybody who's kind of wanting to look to see who we are, what we're about. We've got, previous clients that are on there that kind of tell a little bit about their hunts. And then also Derek and I have a few videos on there just kind of, talking about the process, introducing ourselves. And it's all about having that personal touch. And we want to have one-on-one with our clients. And it was important for us to do a website that really mirrored who we were as individuals. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can attest to the fact I can't log on to my Instagram without seeing something dead from Ridge Rock in my feed. So, I've tried to log on and not see something dead from old Derek, and it ain't happening. So,
hey, you want me to tell you something, Sam? I told Lacey last night. I said I feel bad. I said because I have so many turkeys that people are shooting in the face or all this kind of stuff all over social media. And I was like, I still got a whole bunch more to post. I mean, I'm 2 weeks behind on turkeys being killed.
Oh man.
So,
and it's mid-April.
The success of our clients, it's been a fun season.
One of the guys texted me yesterday and said, "Hey dude, you gonna post up our turkeys we killed?"
Like, after everybody else.
I said, I promise you I am. His name is Zan. I said, I promise you I am, man. I said, because they get some beautiful birds. I was like, but man, I have all these other pictures that I'm posting that's leading up to the sequence of whatever y'all are. And actually one of them, man, I had a group that went to Texas and just really got after them. And so last night I just found the Halls. I finally just had to put all their stuff together in just one post.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, I feel like I'm running out of time and, and space. And like you said, every time you open up your Instagram, there's a Ridge Rock with somebody grinning behind a turkey.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. I love seeing it. It's good stuff.
The Pronghorn Country shirt is still one of my all-time favorites.
He loves it.
I love that. We've talked about this Pronghorn a bunch of times, but I literally had that shirt in my bag in Montana this last year and told out there, I told him, I was like, listen, I said, I've got to put this shirt on and get a picture because I got to send it to my boys at Fall Obsession.
Man, you keep preaching that because I'm wanting to do hopefully a round 2, maybe a different color or something of that pronghorn country before this upcoming fall. So we'll try to get that out early enough that way we can get some pics of some folks sitting behind a pronghorn wearing one. We might even give some Ridge Rock Hunt Company customers a discount. If they're going on a pronghorn hunt, we can hook them up. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll figure it out. We got a little time to figure that one out. But
I think I have about 14 going this fall. So
wow.
I'm actually not going this fall because
you're not.
I'm not going this fall. Not on the pronghorn hunt. I put in for an elk hunt in New Mexico with one of my outfitters out there, and I'm hoping that I get drawn for an archery elk hunt. And then, of course, I'm going to one of my places in Kansas to see if I can get me another bruiser.
Awesome.
Like, we're gonna have to build another house for the heads.
Yeah, it's filling up quick, I'm sure.
I told Lacey tonight, I was like, I think we're going to have to build another half house or something.
Half house.
I got my e-bikes in my office in there.
Build you a shop or something, golly.
Yeah, I walk back there and just shut the door. I'm just like, I cannot look in there.
Yeah, we were going to do this podcast from the office. I was like, my desk has got way too much crap on it. Now, I cleaned some fans and feet, beards, and all that stuff off of it. And now I have more feet and beards and all that stuff on, drying the beards and everything on my desk. So it's never ending cycle.
Man, I mean, it wouldn't be the first. We've had a freshly killed dead pronghorn head on the table in between us recording a podcast before. So, we're hitting all the marks, over here. We're doing everything you're not supposed to on podcasts. So
yeah, that's cool.
All right, well, I'll take it to home here real quick for our listeners. If you guys are listening, thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Again, if you guys are looking for a hunt, hit up Ridge Rock. Go talk to Derek. He will find something that'll work for you. That's what they do, as they've talked about over and over again this podcast. So they've already thrown their contact info out there. Go check them out. As far as Fall Obsession, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, those are all our socials. We're posting daily on social media, multiple new videos a week on our YouTube, so be sure you head over there and subscribe. Audio for this podcast drops on Monday morning, and a couple days after, the video will be on the YouTube channel, so you guys can go check that out. FallObsession.com is our website. That's our hub. All of our content is out there. Educational videos, media series, wild game recipes, articles. We got it all on there for you guys and more. Go over there and explore around. The apparel that we're talking about, the shirts that Derek and Lacey are rocking in the video, they're available at FallObsession.com along with a lot of other designs. So go check those out. We got some new spring apparel designs on there as well. So you guys go get you some Fall Obsession swag. FallObsession.com/podcast is where you guys can go to listen to our podcast and to send us feedback if you guys have any topic suggestions, general feedback, or you want to let us have it because you heard something you don't like. We take criticism as constructively as we can around here. So feel free to give us some feedback. So, and normally, again, I'd say right now, podcast is driven by Ridge Rock Hunt Company, but we kind of already covered that today. So we got y'all a good plug, but we appreciate you guys. Appreciate everything y'all are doing over there at Ridge Rock, and y'all keep doing good stuff. So,
man, yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the opportunity, man. It's a lot of fun always.
You bet. All right, guys. Well, good talking to you, listeners. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you guys again next week for another Fall Obsession podcast episode.